Hey guys, it's Cam here. Welcome back to the Build Room and a big Merry Christmas to all. Now in this episode, we are throwing the holiday cheer out the window and tearing the still beating heart out of the Shellica. So stick around and check it out. Okay, so if you think back to the previous episodes on the Shellica, we had gotten the engine running, we had managed to take the thing on its maiden voyage, which was a very short voyage up and down the driveway, but it proved that we had a working diff, a working gearbox, and a viable motor. And then I dropped the bombshell that we were actually tearing that motor out and the Shellica was not going to have the 18R in the long term. So that leads us into this week's episode. So today we're going to pull that motor, obviously. I've got a surprise for you guys towards the end of it. And then also we are drawing the winners of our Christmas giveaway of the TBR merch packs. Now those merch packs, as I said, were there to say thanks to you guys and also to promote the new JDM Legends range in the TBR merch store, including the limited edition shirt, which is JDM Leno. And you guys have been giving me plenty of great answers to those questions and also some pretty good feedback on what you do and don't like about the new JDM Legends line. So yeah, hang around for that. We're gonna do that right at the end of the episode. But for now, it's about 50 degrees in here, so we might as well get out the front and get into it, picking up right where we left off last week. Okay, so in the last episode, we managed to get the engine started and squared away, so now it's time to get it out. First thing we're gonna have to do is get rid of the makeshift fuel system, and then we're gonna have to pull the battery, including our ultra secure retaining zip tie. Then there's some cabling for the carb solenoid and for the wiring for the alternator. There's also a ground strap which goes from the engine mount to the chassis to the battery. Then we need to disconnect the fuel system. None of this is being used, so tin snips are an easy and quick solution for this one. And if we look at this fuel line, you can see all the rust from the tank that would have ended up in the carby had we tried to use the stock system. After that, there's a signal wire that goes to the back of the distributor and then the main power lead and the trigger for the starter motor. This one's the loom for the reverse switch, which goes to the other side of the gearbox. And we've also got a couple more earth straps between the body and the engine. Then there's the linkage for the carbies, and then I'm just gonna spray some penetrine onto the exhaust bolts and let them soak for a while we get the car up in the air for the next stage. Now the car's not level here, but I'm only going to be jacking up the front of the car, and that means the stands are actually going to be on flat ground. The car will be basically level, so we don't have to be worried about this thing coming off the stands and getting crushed. I've also put some bricks under the tyres just for an added safety measure. So now let's have a look at how this thing looks from down under. All right, so tail shaft. Basically we have 4 bolts there from the rear uni joint to the diff. They look like they're coated in a liberal coat of diff oil, so they will hopefully be pretty easy to get out because oil is the best corrosion protection. So we can drop that back piece first, and then there's a center bearing, which is should be just up there. Take that center bearing out, and then the tail shaft yoke will just slip out the back of the gearbox. And when you take this yoke out of the back of the gearbox is going to start to leak oil past the seals. It does on every car. Don't think the seals that are in there are going to hold in that oil because they rely on sealing against the yoke itself. So my recommendation is just get a sandwich bag and some zip ties, and you can throw the sandwich bag over the end, zip tie it around before there, and then at least anything that drops out is going to be encapsulated by that bag. And yeah, we could eliminate that leaking really by just draining the gearbox fully, but in keeping with the Roadkill spirit, I don't want to do that. I just want to rip this thing out and get it to the side. And then all we'll need to do is remove this gearbox cross member, the speedo cable, that's the cable that goes all the way up to the instrument cluster to power the speedo, or run the speedo rather. And we also need to take out the clutch slave, which is just up there. You can see that in there. So what I'll probably do is just disconnect that whole clutch slave and keep the thing together for now, because I'd rather not leak clutch fluid all over the ground and then have to lane it. So yeah, let's get into montage mode and get this happening. And here's another official Roadkill zip tie moment. Damn it, I forgot about the exhaust. How did I do that? Alright, that should hold that for now. Glad we had that bag. All right, so we've got the milk crate back there, delicately balancing the gearbox. What I'm going to do now is just jack the car up and take it off the jack stands and let it down slowly so the engine tilts forward again, and then I'll pop a piece of wood just behind here so that I can let the pull the milk crate out from underneath it, and the engine will stop itself on the firewall here without doing any damage or denting it, because I need to bring the whole car down onto the ground, back onto its wheels, because with violet crumbles there, I cannot pull the engine out as is. I need to be able to either roll the car back and then put the cherry picker on, or put the cherry picker on and then roll the car back and keep the cherry picker stationary and move the car out from behind it. So yeah, let's do that. Down we go. All right, we've got the strain. Now we undo the engine mounts. All right. All right, we're loose. No engine removal would be complete without forgetting something, and in this one it is the choke cable. Got to pull that off. Find that later. There we go. All right, we're clear of the engine bay. There's no real chance of getting caught on this, so I'm just gonna push this back a little bit further to get it out of the way, and then this is looking pretty gross. The engine's not too bad. Obviously the degreasing that we did on this before works pretty well. There's a little bit here that I missed when I forgot that sensor wasn't in, and it puked all over the bottom. But yeah, we'll push this car back, and then we're just gonna get this one all cleaned up and safely on the ground. I'm just going to tape up this speedo drive so it doesn't get water in it, and I'll also attach the gear stick to keep water out of there too. Okay, so the engine bay is drip drying, as is the engine. Just be careful when you're working on a picker. You really shouldn't work on it while it's hanging. I was very careful not to get under it, and I'm only washing it from the background, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna let this continue to drip dry, and then we're gonna get a bonnet back on and make this thing look a little bit better. All right, so wrapping up for the day, and she's riding a bit high in the saddle due to not having the weight of an engine in it. I've put the bonnet from Violet Crumbles on top, mainly because the green bonnet that was on this is in much better condition than VC's, so it is going to donate it to a worthy cause. I've also had a crack at repairing the roof, as I am an expert coach builder. I had a spare section of roof, so all it took was some tin snips, some Sikaflex, some self-tapping screws, and of course the requisite gaffer tape, and yeah, that thing should be watertight. And I gotta say, it is definitely earning the title of the greatest patina car of 2021. I don't think I've shown you guys the other side of this yet, but yeah, it looks pretty much like the driver's side, pretty bad condition. These doors especially, if we have a look at them, they're rotting away, and the roof line is just as bad. It actually looks like this entire roof has been replaced. If we look at the inside of it, it's not the standard metal, so that whole sheet on top there has been replaced at some point. But yeah, the things you discover as you're looking at these cars more and more. So that brings us to the question of, what are we going to do with this beast? And I have a confession to make, because I've been telling you guys a white Christmas lie. The name of this series is the Roadkill Rescue for our RA28. But this is not that RA28. That guy is. But that is a story that's going to have to wait until next week. So for now, let's jump back in the garage and pick the winners of our Christmas giveaway. All right, so hopefully that one was a little bit unexpected. The green RA28 has been just sneaking around in the background of a couple of the other episodes. I think actually a couple of you have picked up on it and asked me about it, but we are going to continue working on the Shellica at a future date, but for right now, we are switching over to the new one, and I'm not going to get into that today. I'll give you more information on that in the next episode. We'll run through the car completely and we'll start getting it prepped for that 18RC to find its new home. So yeah, I'm really stoked on that one. I'm hoping we're going to be able to do something that's a little bit different that you guys are really going to enjoy. But for now, let's get into the Christmas giveaways. Give me 1 second here. All right, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. We're about to play with technology, and you can guarantee it's not gonna go right the first time. But as I said, we had 3 different episodes, one of which was the Super episode where we detailed it and we ceramic coated it and we went through Toyotas in the park, and I unveiled the TA22 Celica. And then there were the 2 other episodes that we've had on the Shellica to date. And the deal was, I ask you guys a question, you respond to that question in the comments, and then that gets you eligibility for the giveaway. And just before we actually do that draw, I just want to remind you that you had to actually answer the question to be eligible. And if you won it once, you weren't eligible again. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna use an app on the phone, and hopefully we can just put in the episode, it'll pick a winner and it'll give us a couple of runners up, just in case those people haven't met those criteria, and we'll just go in order of the pickings if we do have to get into the backups. So anyway, I'll bring you guys over a bit closer and we'll see if we can get this to work. And while I'm messing around with my phone, now's a good time to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, so fingers crossed this is gonna work. Technology is probably gonna bite me in the ass, but we'll see. So far, I have the detailing the Supra episode up, and basically what I've set this to do is to give me 1 winner and 2 backups, just in case people don't answer it or they've won it before. And then all I have to do is hit start giveaway, and it's going to run through and hopefully give us a winner. Now this is probably gonna take some time, but you know, let's see. And just so you're wondering, the question that you had to answer for this one is, what engine should I put into the TA22? That was the Targa Top Celica. So yeah, it looks like we've got some people coming out. All right, okay, so our winner was Bob Fugazi. Let's just check that Bob's actually answered the question. Yes, he has. He's recommended a 2JZ, and who can argue with a 2J? So yeah, congratulations, Bob. And so close, Ken and Mitch Templar. And the next episode, we're getting the Shellica started. Now that's an interesting one because the question that I asked you guys was, what would you name it? Now, I didn't guarantee that I was going to use one of those names, but I ended up using one, and a guy named Peter Bug suggested the Shellica, and that's what we named it. Now, I'm going to send Pete a merch pack separate to the competition because I wanted to say thanks for suggesting such a great name that I could actually use, but I didn't want that to take away from having an actual winner for the draw. So, Pete's is really a bonus pack, and we can draw the next one now. So, again, one winner, two alternatives. Picking comment is only once, and we're gonna go. And yeah, I'm super stoked with the Shellica name. I love it. I'm probably going to do some more merch around it, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. And how are we going? Looks like we've got a winner, T-Burn. All right, so can we see that? T-Burn. I'll let it draw the two runners up. Runners up of Nathan and Revo. Let me just check. So yeah, T-Burn has commented. He's actually recommended that we call it the Challenger because it's a lot of work, which I don't disagree with, but the Shellica is just bang on for what that thing actually is. So yeah, T-Burn, you're the winner. Nathan and Revo, better luck next time, I guess. So close yet so far. And that last one is our first drive video. So let's get that going. One winner, two alternates, and only once commenting. Let's go. I hope you guys can actually see that, but anyway, it does flick through everyone. So far, so good, I guess. Looks like we might have a winner. Let's just get the alternates. We've still got to check to see whether they've actually answered the question, and they're not one of the previous two winners as well. Going. There we go. Guido Labamba. All right. And Guido's had a RA28 for 35 years, which is pretty cool. Let's just make sure that he did answer the question in the comments. Oh, okay, so Guido's actually suggested two engines. He suggested an LS, and you know, LS the world, why not? And also a Beams 3SGE. So both good suggestions. And Guido, looks like you're gonna be our final winner for the day. Okay, so to those three winners who are Bob, T-Burn, and Guido, congratulations. What you're gonna need to do now is email me at the Build Room on Outlook, and I'll tell you how we're gonna verify you and get something sent out your way. To everyone else, I just want to say thanks for the participation, and even though you didn't win, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year anyway. And with that done, even though we don't have another giveaway going for this episode, I'd love to see what you think of the green Celica at the first sight. I know you haven't seen much of it, but first impressions are important. Other than that, I'm just going to give you my usual spiel, which is if you want more in-depth first gen Celica content, you should watch the whole Violet Crumble series, which I'll link to here, or I'll put some other episodes, maybe the A90 or the next episode in this series, just down here. Thanks for watching, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time on the Build Room. Bye for now.